welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber John, and this is Orzhov Pox. John came to me with a rough list and asked me to tune it up. Luckily for him, Orzhov Pox is a deck that I actually played in real tournaments many years ago. There are posted lists of me playing these at Star City Games Opens back in the day. The namesake card is Smallpox, named for Pox, which is bigger than Smallpox, but Pox is not legal in Modern. Smallpox is, though. Each player loses 1 life, discards a card, sacks a creature, sacks a land. This is theoretically equal for both players, but we know it's coming and we can build around it, and hopefully the opponent doesn't. The big Mondo combo in the deck is Flagstones of Trocaire with Smallpox. If we don't have a creature in play, which is pretty likely considering we play close to 0 creatures, and we sacrifice Flagstones of Trocaire, then we don't lose a land and we don't lose a creature. We don't care about losing 1 life, and the card we discard we can plan ahead for. There are Lingering Souls in the deck that function out of the graveyard, or we can just have something extra laying around. Pox could actually, in a way, go up 3 or 4 cards for us if all the things line up. Flagstones taps for white, which does not cast Smallpox though, which is why we have 2 Urborgs and 4 Fetid Heaths in the deck. This is the sequence where we can Pox on 2, including of Flagstones. The other support in the deck, Thoughtseize. We got to know what's going on in the opponent's hand to map out our block pieces appropriately or removal interaction appropriately. Fatal Push, Otherworldly Light, Wrath of the Skies, and Damn are all here to respect that your opponent's going to have creatures, and Boros Energy is the #1 deck in Modern. We got to be able to sweep them up. We got to stay alive to the point where we could sweep them up, basically. Necessary functions. Liliana of the Veil. 4 of these in the deck. She is our girl. She makes them sack creatures. She makes everyone discard cards. And eventually she becomes not really a win condition, but we can make your opponent's life really difficult if she gets to ultimate mode. 4 copies of Ensnaring Bridge. This came from John, and I'm interested in exploring it. Shutting down combat is, of course, something that decks like this have always been interested in doing. Combat in the Modern format could involve a huge number of 1/1s thanks to Ocelot Pride, which means we have to go actually Hellbent. But with 4 Lilianas and 4 Smallpox, that might not be hard to do. This definitely keeps things like Eldrazi and Flage and Territorial Kavu off our back, though. Scion of Draco. Stay home, no thanks. And then the final question is, how does this deck win? If Ensnaring Bridge and constantly sweeping up creatures are part of the plans, then we can't rely on creatures too much. Lingering Souls is multiple creatures, and it's a card we don't mind discarding. There was a time where Lingering Souls won a Legacy Grand Prix. That time is long gone, and it's not really a Modern staple anymore either, but this is a deck that could utilize it appropriately, and it's not hard to be Hellbent, draw your card for the turn, attack with whatever 1/1s you have, then play the card you drew for the turn. It's pretty easy to maneuver 1/1s underneath your own Ensnaring Bridge. But outside of Lingering Souls, Planeswalkers are the things that I think function the best here. John's build had 4 Bitter Blossom, and let me tell you, that card belongs in history. I've played Bitter Blossom a number of times in the last couple of years, and it's bad almost universally. I replaced the Bitter Blossoms with a Rogues Gallery of useful Planeswalkers. Kaya Orzhov Usurper. She is passive Graveyard Hate, and she's a win condition, and she can affect the board. Plus, exile up to 2 cards from a single graveyard, gain 2 if at least 1 was a creature. -1, exile target non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. That's your Guide of Souls, your Ocelot Pride, get them out of there. And -5, Kaya deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards that player owns in exile, and you gain that much life. Passive life gain, passive Graveyard Hate, and active win con. Kaya does it all for a deck like this. Ashiok Game Ender. Searching and graveyards are both big parts of Modern right now. Most decks do 1 or both of those things, and Ashiok, just as a fun of, shows up once in a while to make those things not happen. Wandering Emperor, removal as well as a threat. Sorin the Mirthless, card draw as well as a threat, as well as a win con. The -7, deal 13 to any target, gain 13. That works just fine under Ensnaring Bridge. And that's the plan. Soften them up with Thoughtseizes and Smallpoxes, and then Ensnaring Bridge and Planeswalkers into the sunset. Let's do it. I'm on the draw in round 1 with a hilarious triple Fetid Heath hand. Fetid Heath taps for colorless at baseline. You need a single white or black to unlock this. I'm going to do a count real quick. There are 19 good draws in my deck that unlock all this stuff. I think I'm going to mulligan this. That just... it goes wrong too easily, I think. Alright, I'll keep this one. And I'm going to bottom one of the Marches. I have March, Dam, Liliana to curve up into. Okay, we're playing against Belcher. No other deck has Bane Coast in it. That does make my hand a little worse. Dam... I guess damming their random creatures turns off some of their counter magic. Yeah, Thundertrap Trainer. I'll probably just damn that guy. March of Otherworldly Light I can hold, and it can target a Lotus Blossom. Lotus Bloom? Yeah, Lotus Bloom in my opponent's upkeep sometimes. Shadowy Backstreet, dumping another Shadowy Backstreet. I'm interested in Thoughtseizes here. Man, these Fetid Heaths, they don't want to be left out of the game. Damn. Yeah, the Thundertrap Trainers and various creatures in their deck turn on their Flare of Denials, which is tough because this game is going to come down to one very important spell at some point. Another Trainer. Disrupting Shoal, and we know there's a 3-drop in hand. Okay, so they could disrupt Liliana, and that has nothing to do with Thundertrap Trainer. Oh, Ashiok. I could distract them with Ashiok and work my way towards Liliana. I think I would actually rather have Lily. So this Ashiok is going to function as him to Turok here. Take 2 cards out of that hand. It's possible they don't care, which would be bad for me. Like, knowing they could counter this if they don't. Okay. They did use the cards. Okay. If they let that resolve, it means that their plan does not involve War of Invention at all, which is not great for me. That cost them a land, though. That Sink into the Stupor doubled as a land. It's also an interactive spell. Okay, right now, Force of Negation and Flare of Denial are cards they could just cast. They do also play or they could conceivably play the Daze. There's a Daze Force Spike double face land. I'm forgetting the name of it at the moment. They missed their land drop, though, which means their hand is all spells. I don't expect this Liliana to work. Wow, okay. Hard cast, or alt cast Flare of Denial when they had 3 mana, which makes me think they're gonna War of Invention this turn for a Lotus Bloom in the end step, and then I'll exile it with March. Okay. There's the Whir. I'm gonna March this immediately. They'll probably sack it for mana in response. It's better off in their graveyard because of Tameshi. Yep, just floated 3 blue, and that's gone, but now my hand is nothing. Philology Archaeologist. Mill 3. They found another Whir there. Jwari Disruption. That's the Daze I was talking about. Okay, they hit their land, picked up Jwari Disruption, immediately deployed it as a land. This is a great turn to find a Thoughtseize. Fatal Push. Not quite what I wanted. I will push the Philology, though. If they play Belcher this turn, I have 1 turn to draw Vindicate or March. Yeah, there's Belcher. All right, I have a couple live draws here, but they do have to come off the top. All right, GG. Yeah, that match is going to be tough in the main, especially if I don't see any of my discard. Disruptor Flute is for them. Stony Silence is for them. Dam is not for them. Oh, and Snaring Bridge, completely irrelevant here. High Noon could slow them down a bit. Right, High Noon just seems better than, I guess, Dam and Fatal Push. Fatal Push could kill Tameshi on their turn. Dam could kill 2 things sometimes. High Noon's better than Dam. Torpor Orb shuts down all of their ETB buddies, like all of those blue creatures that their deck is built around. I think a Wrath and a Fatal Push can come out. There's just a lot of cards that aren't that good. I'm built for creatures for the most part in the main, and that's not what my opponent's doing. Okay, I will keep this. It's not without risk. A Flagstones of Trocaire is my best draw, but I'll take any land. And I'm actually going to lead on Fetid Heath in case I top deck the Flagstones. Suspended a Lotus Bloom, played the dual land. This is risky. I think I'm going to Swamp Pass. Without another land to keep playing, Smallpox is pretty dangerous. And knowing that they have mana coming makes it extra concerning. I had a build of this deck that included Inquisition of Kozilek to supplement the Thoughtseizes, and I sure wish I had access to that right now. Spell Snare in exile. Alright, deck Flagstones right now. March of Otherworldly Light. This is not great, but I am going to send it. Smallpox. I'll discard Lingering Souls. And I think I should actually sack the Swamp. I need another land before I function anyway. Okay, we got a Sink into Stupor out of their hand. I know they could Spell Snare, something like Stony Silence even if I draw it. Deck, why? Why, deck? Unfortunate. Do they have the Belcher, and are they ready to send? Trainer. They're looking. Blackstones is a good draw again. Belcher in hand. Uh-oh. If they have an untapped land, they could drop that right now. Okay, they're going for it. Yeah, this Fetid Heath being Fetid Heath and not Godless Shrine might have cost me that game because I could have fought over the Lotus Bloom in their upkeep. Okay. That was pretty unsatisfying. I mean, kind of unlucky to miss on a land in 5 draws, but also, you know, bummer. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2. I'm going to keep this hand. It has mana and a way up to Liliana. I'm going to lead on Urborg. There's some small chance it might help my opponent, where if I play a normal land it doesn't, but I don't want to lose 2 life to not fatal push anything. And Urborg enables future Smallpox. I don't have the Pox or the Flagstones, but honestly, this is a deck that if I could play like 8 Flagstones and 12 Smallpox, I would. It's just really nice when all of those pieces work together, and the deck feels kind of weird when it doesn't. I had a Multa 5 and an Indatha Triome. Oh, okay. Do I want to bury someone who Multa 5? I kind of do. But if this is Domain Zoo, their next play is probably a creature. All right, I'm going to put Godless Shrine into play. Tapped and pass. Like, I'm on curve here that they play a creature, I Liliana it. They play another creature, I Smallpox that and a land. Or if I draw Flagstones, I could just box them. Got an Arid Mesa. Steam Vents. That is Domain. There's the Kavu. I'm actually just going to push it. With 4 cards in their hand, Liliana Plus is nice here. Sacred Foundry only matters for a sideboard card. I don't mind discarding that. Right, Fetid Heath, Liliana. Hopefully they just can't beat this card from this position. They could like Tribal Flames to pick her off, but she's already gotten a card off them that takes a whole turn. This is a game though where if they just like draw some good cards, I could be in trouble. Oh, there's Leyline of Guildpact discarded. The Multa 5, draw Leyline on your first turn. Good stuff. I think Tribal Flames can hit Liliana. I think that's an any target one. That's one of those weird ones that you actually have to check the errata on. Yep, any target. Leyline Binding. Okay, yep, that's legal. I can technically deal with that with March, but it's a long way off. Thundering Falls. Kept the card on top. Okay, I could March this now. That would help end me, though. I think I want to pass and see what they're up to this turn. The Stubborn Denial is a card that these decks can play, and I really don't want to get denied stubbornly or otherwise. Scion of Draco. They did not play another card. They either have a burn spell or a counter spell in their hand. I have 2 answers to Draco. Oh, this is only 5. I don't know what I'm doing right now. The classic, this is not prismatic ending moment. Headed Heath to the graveyard. Shadowy Backstreet. I think that's my discard for Smallpox. All right, I'm going to go for Smallpox here. If they have Stubborn Denial, that stinks, but I can free Liliana next turn, and they will be empty. Hopefully they just, like, bolt me in response to this, and that gets their hand empty, and the Draco gone. Cool. Right, I'll discard Backstreet. I'm going to sack Urborg because I have plenty of black mana right now, and that might actually help them a little bit. I am behind. Despite the good start, I am behind. They dumped Lightning Bolt off us, Surveil. Come on. All right, I need to draw a white card or Vindicate right now. Flagstones, that's not a white card. All right, the Draco is just a 4/4 right now until more things happen. Got plenty of live draws. This is a matchup where Ensnaring Bridge is excellent. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I guess I have to exile the Shaman here, or I'll exile the Fable now and then the Shaman on my turn. Let's use my mana most efficiently. I don't like that Marsh Flats. Get rid of Shaman. I'm out of Backstreets. I've used them both. Oh no, opponent's still tapping mana. Maybe not. Territorial Kavu. Okay, so I need Ensnaring Bridge immediately. I'm going to fetch this last Godless Shrine out of the way. Ensnaring Bridge off the top. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, the early game favored me massively, and then we quickly fell off. Celestial Purge hits a lot of the things they play. Dam is excellent. Wrath of the Skies is okay. Ashiok's actually really good versus their terrible mana base. Vindicate, I was hoping for one of those at any point in the game. It might be Thoughtseize. 2 Thoughtseize out, 2 Purge in. Do I want another Wrath? I need to spend 4 mana for Wrath to get things I care about most of the time. No, I think 2 Thoughtseize might still be okay. If I do it early and I could like pick off a Scion or a Leyline Binding before it hits, that's fine. Okay, well, we're about to find out if Thoughtseize is fine. I'm keeping both of the Thoughtseizes that I left in are in my opening hand, which, if we're going to have Thoughtseizes in, this is where I want them. Opponent kept 7, no Leyline. Fable, Consign, Stub. I guess I'll take Stub for now, because that lets me play the other Thoughtseize next turn, and they can't deploy Fable on turn 1. That Stubborn Denial will eventually cook me, even if it takes a little while. Thoughtseize you again. I'm not playing around top deck Stubborn Denial. Take the Fable. Got the Shrine tapped. Alright, opponent has Consign to Memory and a bunch of lands in their hand. Given that their hand is all lands, I'm not going to be vindicating lands. Sacred Foundry. Alright, Lingering Souls, first time on the stack since 2018. We'd love to see it. Consign to Memory is fascinating. What did I show them that would even be in their deck? Like Flagstones of Trocaire trigger, I guess? They milled away an Arena of Glory. Arid Mace, I didn't know about that one. That's new. A Scion. I can cook that. Vindicate Scion. Yeah, I have perfect information now. The Arid Mesa was something I didn't know about, and the Scion was something I didn't know about. They have Consigned and 3 lands in hand. Steam Vents. There's a Lush Portico from hand. Shadowy Backstreet. Celestial Purge. I believe I would like that. It can miss, but I'm just going to hope it doesn't. Okay, there's one unknown card in their hand. It could be a burn spell, a counter spell, or a land. Any creature they would have played. I'm actually going to play around the counter spell and the burn spell by going Lingering Souls and playing my land tapped here. I would love to just jam Sorin, but I either have to lose 2 life to play around a card that it is in the range that they're demonstrating, or risk getting blown out by a potential top deck. But Arid Mace, I didn't know about that. Another Marsh Flats. Spirits, go get them. I'm going to drop Sorin here. Do I want to draw a card or make a lifelink creature? I want a lifelink creature. They're tapping a blue. Do they think Consigned to Memory counters this? You're going to be disappointed. Okay, there's a blue in the pool, and I'll pass the turn. Imagine if Consigned to Memory was just Stifle plus and has Replicate. Strictly better Stifle with Replicate. The card's already good enough. Okay, if they thought that activated and triggered abilities were the same thing, or don't know the difference between the two, then that makes sense why Consign's in their deck. And it might not be in the deck for game 3. Okay, they're complaining about how many lands they've drawn this game in the chat. That is good news for me. Well, remember last game when you drew 85 spells in a row? It's just balancing out. All right, Shadowy Backstreet. March. Yeah, I'll take a removal spell. Start banking it up. I'm going to attack, get my lifelink trigger, or not trigger, my lifelink ability. And then I'm going to plus Sorin. This is a Dark Confidant ability where I get to look at the card before I decide if I want to lose life to it. You can never die to your own Sorin activation. Yes, I would like to put Smallpox in my hand. That covers the next creature they play. All 3 cards in my hand cover the next creature they play. That also means they can't use this fetch land now. Okay, go to 1. It's your life to live, homie. Is there even a fetchable land left in the deck? Okay, they found one. Another Steam Vents. Now, this deck has 2 Steam Vents and a Thundering Falls. This is a very blue build of Zoo. Plains, I didn't know about that one either. Okay, so they ran pretty bad that game, but they ran pretty good the game before. We can trade off. I also thought seized them twice that game, and that Fable and Mirror Breaker would have moved 2 lands around, and like I did stuff there. It's not like they just ran bad. Okay, is there anything here that looks more useful? I don't think so. Like the second Wrath of the Skies, I'm on the draw now, or I'm under even more pressure. Wrath takes so much mana to clear a Leyline, and I'll never clear a Scion with it. Yeah, I think just this point and click removal and the sweepers and the planeswalkers is where I want to be. Okay, this is a turn 2 Pox, and I can continue casting spells after that. I'd like this hand better on the play, but Pox, you'd always rather be on the play. They have the Leyline this time around. Please don't start on Ragavan. Oh no, don't! 1 turn to breathe. Alright, Fatal Push. Fatal Push, Fatal Push. I can't even cast a Fatal Push. God damn it! Deck, why? I got the card I asked for, but I can't even cast it because I have fucking Fetid Heath in my hand. Oh, I'm enraged. I'm losing my mind. Alright, Sacred Foundry, tapped. We almost stole it there. Alright, Ragavan hits. Hopefully it flips a Smallpox and they just jam it. That would be great. It exiled Urborg. That card would have been okay for me. Oh, they missed their land drop. Interesting. So if I Pox here, they could Stubborn Denial it. I think I should Fatal Push on their turn. They could Stubborn Denial Lingering Souls as well. Alright. I'm going to make black here. I'm going to kill Ragavan now. They would have to Stubborn Denial twice. Okay, they're dashing a second Ragavan. Nothing could be done to play around that. That's a joke at my own expense. Okay, they exiled the Leon of the Veil. Can't cast it. Hit a land. Okay, they can still Stubborn Denial a 3-drop here. Wandering Emperor. Getting Lingering Souls stubbed is not the worst thing that could happen. We're in there. I don't care about Ragavan anymore. We did it, team. This deck might need more lands, just raw land count, because if you ever Smallpox without a Flagstones, it's so bad. Fable is in. I had to tap out to do that. Flagstones for the blowout. Celestial Purge. Oh, that's good too. I want to spend all my mana this turn. Yeah, I think this is a Liliana turn. I don't like giving them the loot with Fable, but I like less them hitting treasures. And I'm not going to attack here because I know they have that Ragavan in hand, and I don't want anything to go wrong. Celestial Purge can exile Fable or Leyline. Stubborn Denial, Mystical Dispute discarded. That Stubborn Denial must have shown up after the Lingering Souls, or they weren't willing to spend it there. And maybe they needed the treasure to play the Fable. Found a land. If they found a Scion, I got some work to do, because the Scion makes the Ragavan into a Supersonic. Crazy Boy. Basic Mountain. There's Scion. And we're dropping Ragavan with it. Okay. Draw for turn. Sorin, another 4-drop. Thanks, deck. Okay, I'm going to plus Liliana first, and I'm going to discard Ashiok here. I think that one is the farthest away from helping me. Discarded Flage, that's terrifying. And Ashiok is the card I discarded. Perfect. First I trample all that stuff. I could purge the ley line. I could try to wait till combat, but if they're holding a counterspell, that's really bad for me. All right, I'm going to purge ley line now. Ragavan still has first strike. Gross. Guess we're chumping for a while. Fable wakes up. I feel this one slipping away. Just land number 4 at any point. If I could double spell the Smallpox with the Celestial Purge, maybe that gets me somewhere. If I could play any of these 4-drop creatures that my hand's full of. And they have a fetch land for Flage immediately. I can't even cast Dam if I draw it. At 23 feels like a large number of lands, but when we consider that this deck doesn't actually draw cards or manipulate its draws in any capacity other than a couple Surveil lands, maybe like 26 even, like a ton of lands should be what we're doing. All right, Liliana's dead. And so is everything else. Yeah, Flage can just kill a spirit in combat next turn anyway, so I'll make the obvious blocks. All right, this game's not winnable anymore. GG. Let's look at this deck real quick, take stock of things. And like, Ensnaring Bridge has not shown up even once. Flagstones of Trocare showed up once without a Smallpox, and Smallpox has shown up 3 or 4 times without a Flagstones. I am missing a bunch of the core interactions of what the deck does, but those are only a handful of cards in the deck, and they're not always going to show up when you need them at the right time. I think this deck might just want a full play set of Shadowy Backstreet. Or, I mean, the Sacred Foundry is in the deck just so you can activate High Noon sometimes. And the Sacred Foundry cost me the Fatal Push that game. If this was just a Godless Shrine, I kill the Ragavan and I think I win that game by a mile. Though also my own dumbass didn't wait till combat to Fatal Push that first Ragavan, and they did dash the second one. If they had had to play out a creature's sorcery speed there, then Smallpox kills their only land and their only creature. Yeah, I think I messed up that last game, but also this deck needs more lands in it. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. I'm going to keep. My hand does stuff. Polluted Delta. Tameo. Well, I'm going to Fatal Push that shit. No thank you. That is not a card my deck is equipped to battle. We got another land. Esper revealed. Yeah, I'll Smallpox the heck out of a Psychic Frog. Smallpox. Discard Lingering Souls. The deck's functioning. Good news, everybody. I have to sacrifice Fetid Heath. I discarded Otawara. And they passed. Didn't have a follow-up. Oh, Flagstones. Nice of you to arrive. Okay, Fetid Heath, Lingering Souls. This might just get counterspelled, but it was on the house anyway. I'm in there. Bowmaster is pretty good here. Not a Bowmaster. We did it. They passed back to me. Backstreet. Ashiok Game Ender. I'll put that on top. And attack with my creatures. Smells like a Murktide Regent. And a Murktide Regent it is. That's a good one to hit with Smallpox. And I even have the thing. The Flagstones for the first time in the history of Earth. Smallpox. Ooh, Force of Negation. All right. The game continues. Damn. Okay. I was really counting on the Smallpox to kill one of their 2 lands. A little disappointed that got countered. It was still worth multiple cards. Oh, wow. They had a tragic trajectory, Ashiok. I agree, that was pretty tragic. All right. Ashiok, do you have Spell Pierce or another Force? I'll hit their graveyard once because they've shown me they use it for things like Murktide Regent. And then I'm not going to minus Ashiok anymore. Milling them's not my strat. Okay, fetch lands don't work. Murktide doesn't work. Gaboran Oculus doesn't work. Cling to Dust, exiling a Smallpox. Yeah, that's a redraw. That doesn't work. Liliana, let's go. The Planeswalker squad. Hooks are going in. All over town. Let's both discard a card. I think I want to discard Fatal Push because March covers more things. Attack with my Spirit. Do I care if they have 2 cards in the graveyard? I don't think so. The Rizzler. Well, alright, that was a pretty good draw here. And it doesn't really matter because they're never going to get it back into play. Cool. Okay. Esper, Frog, Tempo. Torpor Orb is good versus Quantum Riddler, but I don't think I care about that card specifically versus the other things that are going on. Celestial Purge hits Frog. Nile Spellbomb can blow out the graveyard. I don't think I want Wrath of the Skies. That's pretty slow and doesn't hit things like Murktide Regent. I like all these cards. I like Vindicate. I like Kaya. Sorin might be unnecessary here. And some Marches if I'm just side grading those into Celestial Purge. I will... Here we are again, needing a land pretty desperately. I'm going to keep, though. I have the Surveil. Alright, Thoughtseize. My hand was going to take some time to warm up anyway. That's not too bad. Took the Pox. That is the most powerful card in my hand, abstractly. Thoughtseize. Fatal Push. That is not a land, but it does kill Psychic Frog next turn. I'm going to leave it there. That's what I'm worried about right now. There it is. I could Thoughtseize them and then pitch a white card, either Kaya or Souls, to March. Yeah, I think that's actually better. All right. Counterspell Harbinger. Ooh, Harbinger's spooky. Counterspell's annoying, but I'll make my way through it. All right, Harbinger's gone. March cast with additional cost. Target Frog. I think I would rather have Kaya between the two. Oh my god, what's happening? Why is Magic Online confused about this? I think we're bugging out here. In March of Otherworldly Light, cast with additional cost. Choose a target. Exile any number of white cards. Click a card to exile it. Lingering Souls. It's highlighted. 1 exiled so far. And now X is suddenly 0. Alright, well, this league is free, I guess. What if I try exiling Kaya instead? Nope. Yeah, this just isn't working. Well, that sucks a lot. Now I'm going to get hit by Psychic Frog when I don't have to. Will it work on your turn? Nope. Okay. Alright, it doesn't work on your turn either. Well, that's very frustrating. That was a good play, lining up the Thoughtseize with the March to deal with both problems. I'm quite proud of that. Alright, I'm gonna Fatal Push the Frog on my opponent's turn. Then they have to spend Counterspell there, and then if I draw a land, I can Liliana them, I guess. Fatal Push this thing now. They draw a different Counterspell? No, just tapped silly. Okay. Frog connects again. I'll fetch Basic Swamp and see if I can resolve Liliana here, but I think the window is passed. Moment of truth. Yep, stupid, annoying, miserable. Well, this league is going to be pretty awkward if one of the cards that I decided to register in high numbers simply doesn't work. There's Murktide. Urborg, not the worst. I think I'm going to play Lingering Souls now. I can chump, and then next turn if I draw a land, I could double spell. I'm trying to rip a dam or a bridge. I did not double spell successfully. Alright, I'm going to try to Wandering Emperor in combat. They still know I have March as well. I guess I should March now. Discarding Celestial Purge. Yeah, if they're pushing damage when they know I have a removal spell. Okay, 1, 2. This is now lethal. I'm still going to target Frog here. If they have a counterspell, it just doesn't matter. Cool. Alright. Game 3. Now I have to decide if March of Otherworldly Light is worth playing. It can still exile a Psychic Frog for the mana. Alright, I am hitting submit. John, I'm sorry that this is happening. Okay, I will keep this. Thoughtseize you. Thoughtseize, Riddler, Force, Sink, Snare, Bowmaster. I'll take their Thoughtseize. Spell Snare is pretty good against me though, and this is multiple opponents who've had it in their deck. What a good time to play Modern. I'm going to pass here. Their second land, at least as far as I know, is Sink into Stupor. And if I can Vindicate that or force a 2-for-1 off of the Vindicate. Kept the card on top. That probably means they're playing a land. Yep. All right. Vindicate your Undercity Sewer. See if this is worth a force. Force pitching Spell Snare. Okay. Spell Snare unlocks future small poxes. There's Bowmaster in. That makes Liliana worse. It actually makes Liliana the same. Because I have March that can exile a token, even if the game doesn't work. Alright, Thoughtseize, and that Rizzler is just ticking down. If that shows up and draws a bunch of cards when I don't have the game under control, it's very different than when I do. Shocked in the Springs. Yeah, they could Rizzler right now and draw 2 cards. Awful. Shambling Vent. Alright. I'm gonna March the Bowmaster. The Shambling Vent. That is the biggest creature in play right now. Frog. Push it. Yeah, force pitching counterspell. Yeah, they're in on that. Like, they knew I had the push and still played out the frog. I had to imagine they had force, but if I let them untap, it just gets so much worse. All right, I'm going to activate my event. If they have a fatal push for it right away, fine. But I can't just let them tee off on me. They're jumping the Psychic Frog. Block. Bowmaster does kill Vent here. All right, they didn't have that. It's a Fairy Time Raveler. That can bounce my Vent. Sick. Removal spell. God dang it. Alright, I have access to Shadowy Backstreet. I guess I should have done it main phase, because Lingering Souls is a card in my deck. Right. The next land can cast the Riddler from exile. Right, I need a Dam at this point, or even Bridge isn't good enough. Backstreet, Liliana. I don't think she's good enough. I need one of my actual sweepers. Alright, well, this is still not good versus Teferi. They can just clear it and kill me all at once whenever they're ready. Yep, counterspell happens. I'm not going to concede because I do have dams in my deck. It would be weird if they don't have land number 5 after all these draws. I do play more bridges. I discarded a Subtlety to Psychic Frog after combat. They must be trying to add a Murktide here while leaving up counterspell. Right, Liliana. This card does not matter at all. Sack one of your 85 lethal creatures. Alright. Extremely dead. Okay. That is frustrating that we lost a match because of a Magic Online bug. I am going to try to shake that off and keep it in mind for the rest of the league. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in round 4. I've already submitted and been reimbursed for that bug that happened. Okay, I'm going to mulligan this 1-lander. I will keep this 3-lander that's about, or 4-lander that is about to become 3. Swamp, go. I guess Plains is probably better because there are like affinity spam kind of decks in the format that might play out a 0 on turn 1. Alright, I can march a 1-drop. I'm not going to ram Smallpox into the void here. Elegant Parlor. Bunch of red fetch lands. Is this just Boros or is it Ruby? Another red fetch land. Mountain. Friends Resolve. Well, it's definitely Ruby. Strike it Rich and Grape Shot exiled. Okay, I can cast Ashiok here, which turns off fetch lands. If they strike it Rich Grape Shot, if they have a ritual, they might actually just be able to clear Ashiok in a situation where otherwise I wouldn't care. I think I'm going to play Marsh Flats and pass. This leaves up March on a Ral or a a Ruby, or I could fetch my Surveil land. Oh, there's Ral. Right, Poetic Ritual. I'm going to respond. Does Basic Swamp matter? It works. Fetid Heath being good instead of bad for the first time in the league. March with no additional cost. Exile that creature that costs 2. They don't have any mana floating to cast an instant, try to flip it over the top. And they took a damage for the pleasure. Strike it rich. They could just grape shot me for like 4 here and pass the turn. I guess it's 5. Sure. Okay, this is a graveyard deck. I'm going to zap them with Ashiok once just to clear what's there and then pass. Strike it rich. Strike it rich does have flashback, so we already got paid on Ashiok a little bit. Exiled Ruby Medallion and Reckless Impulse. Valakut land passed. Okay, they're not putting the Ruby out there for me to enjoy. I could blow up 2 of their lands. I could blow up 1 of their lands. I think I just want to play in flashback Lingering Souls, get some damage on this board. And there is a flashback spell in the graveyard. I'm going to hit them with Ashiok again. Yeah, they've got a Ruby and a Reckless Impulse in exile that can be cast. Second Ruby and a Commercial District. Those are all cards that are playable, unfortunately. Commercial District. Kept the card. Terrifying. Ren's Resolve. Hit Reckless Impulse and Poetic Ritual. How far are we going? Alright, Ritual. Are we going to go Ruby Impulse or just Impulse? And Ruby doesn't reduce the cost of Impulse anymore. If you're going to do both, you should Impulse first and see where you're going. Poetic Ritual and Manamorphose. Oh my god. It's happening. Manamorphose. Despite hitting them with Ashiok twice, they have a near-lethal graveyard with Past in Flames and plenty of mana to do it. Ruby from exile. Jesus. I played around this. This was not possible. Literally impossible. Okay. Off you go. This is why the sideboard is full of high noons and stuff. And I'm not dead to this. They just have like a lot going on. If there's a tutor in hand, okay. They flipped a Ral on one of their chains here. Artist Talent. That could damn near get through their whole deck. Impulse from the graveyard. Yeah, they can pretty much draw their deck here. That looks so good for like 1.5 turns. Wish. Okay, now I'm dead. Presumably there is a grape shot in the sideboard. Cool. Disappointed. Okay, Nile Spellbomb. Disruptor Flute. High Noon. Celestial Purge can hit Ral. I don't think that's good enough though. Wrath of the Skies could sweep up a bunch of rubies, Rals, and tokens if I can get them stuck under High Noon. That also sweeps up High Noon. Dam seems really bad. Ensnaring Bridge seems mostly pointless. Sometimes they play a creature like Stormscale Scion in their sideboard, where a Wrath or a Bridge might matter, but that is pretty far away from my primary concern. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Thoughtseize into High Noon. I'm going to keep. Oh, I have 2 ETB tapped lands, so it's not Thoughtseize into High Noon. It's just High Noon on turn 2. Backstreet. Swamp. Cool. Alright, I won't die to Blood Moon. Okay, do I want to take the turn to Thoughtseize here? They didn't... Yeah, I am going to take a turn to Thoughtseize. They didn't strike it rich on turn 1, which means winning on turn 2 is a lot harder. Ral and Ruby. I think I'm more worried about Ral. Though I do have 2 removal spells for Ral in my hand eventually, but not if he flips into a Planeswalker. I don't care that much about Ruby if they only get 1 spell per turn. Wish could answer my High Noon. Yeah, I might actually just take Wish here. Alright, Wish is gone. Shambling Vent going in. Is here if they play out Ral, I could Liliana minus. I went with Ruby. That means I'm High Nooning. I'm a High Nooner. They do have the trick here where they can play Ral, pass into my turn. If I try to kill Ral, they can Manamorphose and they have a chance to flip it before it's dead. I think Shadowy Backstreet is better than the other thing. Okay, March is perfect. Now I can deal with Ral at instant speed. Okay, I'm passing here. If they cast a spell ever, I can deal with Ral. Dump to Ritual. Instant Manamorphose. I will respond. Exile Ral. Oh, he only triggers... Oh, shit. Wait, hold on. Instant restores you during your turn. Okay, yeah, I could have Liliana'd that. Shit. Yeah, I just assumed that card worked like Tamiyo does, which flips on either turn. That's what happens when you assume. You make an ass of you and me. Ooh, okay. I can't really reduce the rubies. I think I want to just get Wandering Emperor, inflicting damage here. Reckless Impulse. Valakut Awakening is an instant. Sacred Foundry's in here. Okay, this means that Ruby that's in exile is no longer live. I'll make a Samurai. Thoughtseize, huh? I don't want that yet. I want to Vindicate this Ruby Medallion. Samurai attack. Make another one. Valakut Awakening. Drew 4 cards, so I don't know anything anymore. Alright, pass. Did they flip into the Wear Tear or the Wish for Wear? Well, Wish doesn't work at all with High Noon in play. Oh, did I mess up that Thoughtseize too? Am I spiraling out here? Artist Talent. They're going to level it up. Yep. Okay. They're fetching, but they don't get any more spells. That Ren's Resolve is gone. Okay, the Exile Zone is actually an Exile Zone at this point. Flagstones. Oh, I can play that. I'm going to Thoughtseize first. Grape Shot, Ritual, Reckless Impulse. I think I actually want Grape Shot because... No. It's Reckless Impulse. Like, they can level up the talent Grape Shot for 3, but I don't care. And then I'm going to activate Shambling Vent. Put a +1 counter on it. Extra lifelink. Okay, they are dead next turn, which means they probably just have to level up Artist Talent and kill one of my threats or my Wandering Emperor. Metamorphose, they're taking the Wild Swing instead. Dump the Grape Shot and leveled up Talent. Okay, so they need an instant that deals with stuff here. All right, animate the Vent. I'm going to put a +1 counter on a Samurai. It's lethal attack either way, but if they do have a removal spell, I want it to spread it out. Okay, cool. I think I messed that game up twice. Both my Thoughtseize not realizing that Wish can't get a card to deal with High Noon because they need to cast 2 spells in a turn, and the not realizing Ral only triggers on my opponent's turn. Okay, they know about High Noon now. As if there was any doubt, a white deck. Celestial Purge, picking off Ral in front or back mode. It's not nothing. Are there any cards in the deck that are actually just bad? And I'm not obsessed with Lingering Souls here. Celestial Purge is just a 2-mana Fatal Push. Alright, yeah, this is fine. Though Celestial Purge can hit a card like Blood Moon, though we saw at least 3 colors in their mana base. Oh, Purge can hit Talent, and Push can't. So this is a side grade that I have the same number of answers to Ral, and I'm +1 answer to Talent. Okay, I actually do like that. Okay, Spellbomb is not as good as High Noon, but I am going to keep the hand. Ooh, Game Ender. I don't even know if this deck plays Blood Moon right now, but I know that it could, and I'm going to respect that and get a basic Swamp over potentially Surveilling next turn. They dumped a Ren's Resolve. Ruby's here. Disruptor Flute, that's interesting. Alright, I guess I'll play Godless Shrine and pass. I don't know what I'm naming with this Disruptor Flute. They have a bunch of different rituals. There's one of them. Ren's Resolve. Ritual Ruby. Alright, well, they can have a lot of rubies in play at the end of this turn, if nothing else. I can name Wish with Disruptor Flute, but they could have so much mana by the time that actually happens. Valakut Awakening. Yeah, go for it, I guess. Drew the max. So these are 3 random cards in hand. Commercial District. Ren's Resolve. There's another Ren's Resolve and a Desperate Ritual over there. Ritual into Resolve. There's Wish. That is one of the cards that I thought about naming. They could add the Ruby this turn, pass, and try to Wish next turn and do something big. Wish does cost 1 right now. The Rubies almost counteract the Flute. Okay, I'm going to end-step Flute naming Wish. I want that to at least cost their whole turn. Wish. Okay, I can get the last card out of their hand. Liliana plus, discarding Lingering Souls. Okay, so Wish actually just costs its normal mana cost right now. And opponent has nothing going on. If they draw a land, yeah, okay, so now they could play a red card from exile that costs up to 4. All right, the wish has occurred. Is there one card that smokes me here? Empty the warrens. All right, so they're making some buddies. My Lingering Souls will beat those. Smallpox, that's funny. All right, well, Liliana minus. Lingering Souls. I'm going to use the graveyard one. Like, use the Spell Bomb. Have the ability to draw a card if I want to. Another wish. Well, at least I made that cost more. We're going to empty the warrens more. Is that a thing you have two of? I don't believe it. Turned out to be a really good Disruptor Flute, though. It hit 2 cards in 2 turns. I'm getting Grape Shat. My spirits. Okay. I guess that has to be fine. Oh, they'll kill Liliana and put a damage on me this turn. Okay, they didn't bother with the damage on me. Instead, prioritizing making sure Liliana dies. Guess what card I have another copy of and is actually insane? Fast and Flames. Well, I'll bomb you. Unfortunate they drew those in the order they drew them in, so I miss out on the card, but it was smart of them to just fire it while I at least don't draw a card off the situation. Now, Fast and Flames is in there, at least for the time being. Ooh, Flagstones. Smallpox is pretty bad here. They have a bunch of lands, no cards in hand, and their creature sucks anyway. Kaya could exile the Goblin token, or it could exile Past in Flames. I'm going to exile Past in Flames. Okay, now I'm going to exile Past in Flames and Arid Mesa. Okay, those are gone. If they get a chain of bottles, plus exile 2 cards, you can play them. That's a way out of this. Thoughtseize. Probably not super into that, ever. I'm just going to Smallpox here. I have the Thoughtseize I don't want. I have the Flagstones, which could even hit the Backstreet. Past in Flames was the last card in their hand. I would like to use Flagstones. Backstreet. I don't want a Godless Shrine. I do want to Linger. And I do want to exile these 2 cards from the graveyard. Okay, weird game. They could definitely still win it. Triple Ruby is a lot of mana on the board, a lot of potential energy, and they have 17 life to figure it out with. A Prismatic Ending killing Kaya, sure. All right. All right. That's a good one. Okay, High Noon. Just get the bank in. Now I'm not worried about all their potential mana because they can only spend it on 1 spell a turn. Mountain. Another Pox. Sweet. I'm going to play Ashiok. I am going to hit them once because I don't want Past in Flames to be able to Prismatic Ending. I guess it can anyway. Man, I need to respect High Noon more. We did it! We won! All right. Powerful sideboard cards. Picking them apart. On to the final round, right? Yeah, final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I am on the play in the final round with a stinker. I'm going to mulligan this. Okay, this one is not without its issues, but I will keep it. Wrath of the Skies could help if they are Boros Energy. Like 3 mana is attainable. It's pretty bad for the list if I bottom Smallpox, right? Alright, I'm going to bottom Sorin. If I find a Flagstones, the Smallpox becomes excellent. Opponent's also on 6. I appreciate when they keep it even with me. Show me Flagstones. Snaring Bridge. Alright, I want more lands. I have a bunch of stuff that can interact with creatures for now, so that Ensnaring Bridge can just chill. Arid Mesa. We're going to see that Oscillate Pride. Indeed we are. Lingering Souls. That might be good someday. Alright, I'm going to pass. I can Fatal Push that thing anytime I want. Alright, they're about to go into combat. I'll just push it now. Which is a shame to use a Fatal Push like that, because if I knew I had my next land, I could just save it and wrath it. Alright, well, another Fatal Push. Well, we're both kind of in garbage mode. That was a pretty bad turn 2 from them, just a second Oscillate Pride. But it's also a pretty bad turn 2 from me. Alright, they entombed a Flage for free. Hate when that happens. The card of Johnny is just so bad for me. Alright, please pass without doing anything. Land. The land works them towards Flage. That's scary. Plains. Fable. Yikes. Okay. I'm in trouble. Lots of it. Flagstones, please, deck, if you ever cared about me at all. Alright, my deck doesn't care about me at all, is what I've learned. Alright, I will exile this Goblin. Discarded Marsh Flats and Thraben Charm, which means they're not looking for another mana to go into Flage right away. Another Fable. Still hate that. Deck, we have another chance. Flagstones. Flagstones! Oh my god. What do I even do here? I guess I have to just play it out. Yeah, that land any earlier would have been nice. They did miss their land drop after discarding a land last turn, which means they have at least 3 spells in hand. But also that Flage was not their primary plan. Discarded Ragavan and Seasoned Pyro. Land is here. This can drop Flage. Pre-combat Flage is enough that the Goblin can attack. Oh, okay, different Flage. That also lets the Goblin attack. Why didn't they want the permanent Flage there? They're going to spend 2 mana on something. Maybe they have a Johnny in hand. I think I am going to block here. This is just going to die to a Flage anyway, and if I end up smallpoxing this turn, or Wrathing, if I do anything this turn, it's dead. Ragavan. Okay, I can Wrath for 2. I mean, Wrath for 3 is actually really good if I can get that far. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do here is just cast the Lingering Souls from hand and hope to whatever gods you believe in that between my Surveil and Draw, there's a land there, and I'm not dead in the meantime. Reflection of Kiki-Jiki does say non-legendary creature, so I'm not getting hit with multiple Flages or multiple Ragavans here. Arena of Glory from the top rope. That's not good. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage. I mean, I'm not dead. Though I am dead because they just play Flage again from the graveyard next turn. An Ensnaring Bridge still solves this situation. Yeah, this is just Splinter Twin. Arena of Glory plus Flage. Yeah, Spirit's dead. Goblin Bombardment. Does that make me literally dead right now? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm at 2. Oh my god, they clicked through combat. Wow. I mean, I am not going to say no to that. All right, land on top. Untapped land on top, please, deck. Oh my god. Urborg on top. I'm going to attack for 1 flying. I know it's not my opponent's fault that Magic Online bugged out 2 rounds ago, but I am going to take anything I can get in this environment. So I'll take 5 on the way out here. Wow. They didn't Goblin Bombard either. Okay, they might just be tilting off. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Either they have connectivity issues with their mouse that it's just not doing what they needed to do, or they're tilting off. But I should be at 2 here and dead to Flage in the graveyard, but instead we game on. Okay, if I cast Smallpox, Flage can come back. It will guarantee enough graveyard material. Flagstones. Okay, I mean, that it's coming together, team, one way or another. All right, Smallpox for 100% value, and then 2 Lingering Souls out of the graveyard. They still have to beat a Hasty Flage, but I'm trying here. Fighting for my life in these streets. I'll get another Godless Shrine. Linger. Linger. Okay, this will protect me for 2 turns while I try to find an answer to Flage. Hasty Flage is back. They are now low enough on material that if I can kill this Flage, it'll stay dead for at least a while. Smallpox, Ensnaring Bridge, Vindicate, Fatal Push, March of Otherworldly Light. There's so many hits here. Wandering Emperor. Come on, deck. Shit. There's no reason to leave this card in my hand, and I'm not going to attack with the Spirit because I want them to have to Helix it. Like, if I attack, they take 1, then they just Helix me and hit me for 6, but it saves me 3 life to not attack here. They dumped a Plains. Now Smallpox isn't good enough because they have the mana and the Arena of Glory will be untapped, and another creature. Sorin the Mirthless, that doesn't matter. Alright, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, Sorin, I'll plus, and if I find like Fatal Push or something, alright, put Marsh Flats in my hand and die. Alright. Yeah, my opponent surveilled a Flage into their graveyard for free on turn 3, and it just killed me. Also, you know, missing land drops for, I had 2 lands for most of that game. Disappointing, but okay. I love all the removal that I have. The passive Graveyard Hate of Ashiok is good against exactly Flage. I guess it's good against Seasoned Pyromancer as well. I think Ashiok is worse than Nile Spellbomb, though. If I can draw a card for 1 mana while we do this thing. Thoughtseize is a little worse. I like the bridges. Oh, Kaya also. I might not need 2 Spellbombs if I have Kayas. The Dams, the Rats, this is what we're here for. This is why they're in the deck. Smallpox on the play is fine. On the draw, it becomes pretty embarrassing. Liliana is also mediocre. I think I'm going to cut another Thoughtseize, though. Maybe I'll cut a 3rd Thoughtseize and bring Liliana back in. She's only good in scrappy games, but I'm trying to create scrappy games. One lander's got to go. Come on, deck. One lander's got to go. Okay, I'll keep this one. I'll get rid of the bonus ensnaring bridge and I guess one of the lingering souls. This hand is not good, though. Opponent has a Sacred Foundry and a Guide of Souls. I think that's the least scary guy they could have played there. Especially if I can kill it. Alright. Pick off the thing. And now if I draw a land next turn, we might actually be able to play. Dashing Ragavan. I still think hitting Guide of Souls was better than that. The exiled Dam. Alright, that was not going to be helpful to me. Land, 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 land. Alright, March can hit that Ragavan. Arena of Glory. Rag's in here. Delete it. Doing this in combat so they can't dash a second one. Guide of Souls. Ocelot Pride. Alright, they're going off. Okay, the land is in. I think I want to start with Kaya and exile Ocelot Pride. Or am I worried about Guide of Souls? It's close, actually. Yeah, I need a sweeper anyway. I'm going to hit Guide of Souls. It's not like 1-for-1 removal is going to work anymore. And I also can't save Kaya no matter what I do with that. If Kaya dies, they get another cat, plus whatever else is in their hand. Goblin Bombardment. Alright, I am happy to vindicate that. Alright, Fetid Heath, Vindicate Bombardment. It doesn't make any sense to ping me with cats on the way out, because these cats can just attack for the same damage. And now if I draw a land next turn, I could be stable. A land or 1-drop next turn, something to get the Ensnaring Bridge down. If I flood out on 3 and 4 drops for the rest of the game, it's bad. Wrath of Disguise and Dam are both on at this point. They're casting a 4-mana creature with haste. Or 2 smaller creatures with haste. Okay, yeah, 2 smaller creatures, that's so much worse. Oy, oy, oy. Ajani will eventually kill me. But cats aren't going to die this turn. They're going to have trillions of tokens, though, because the voice tokens and the cat token and this cat token are all going to double from Ocelot Pride at the end. And these are red permanents, if they can get into combat. Alright, Moment of Truth. Ensnaring Bridge has not saved me in a single game yet. I'm about to click into my draw step. If this is a land or 1-drop, we might still be playing this game. Big draws. Alright. Brutal. Okay, so this deck needs more lands in it. Probably at least 2. You could pile in Shadowy Backstreets. You could just add a couple fetches, which are access to Shadowy Backstreet or the Sacred Foundry. I honestly don't think we even need Sacred Foundry. If it's just there to use High Noon's flavor text once in a while, High Noon is not there as a 7-mana Lava Axe. It's there as a Rule of Law. And let's just do that as such. Ashiok was fun, but probably too cute. That one can become a land for sure. Yeah, Sacred Foundry becomes Godless Shrine. Ashiok becomes some black or white fetch land. Or +1 land, -1 3-drop. In March of Otherworldly Light, obviously being bugged, that did definitively cost us a game. That Psychic Frog ended up drawing like 5 cards and dealing 8 or 9 damage. I mean, as long as it's bugged on Magic Online, just cut these entirely and play something else. But even acknowledging this card, like we're playing Vindicate in high numbers, what do we need March for? It's just a more expensive Vindicate that misses some stuff. You get it at an instant speed, but we don't even have that many white cards to pitch to it. I think I would cut March entirely. cut March, cut Ashiok. That's 4 open slots. Get +2 lands, turn Sacred Foundry into a normal land that helps the strat. I would like more action in the deck, and I don't know if that means card draw. Like, you just play like some kind of Night's Whisper, or I'm sure there's some better Modern Horizons version of that you could play. You could also just pile up more Planeswalkers or more. Like, if Ensnaring Bridge is the plan, if this is what we're going to do, like, you could also just cut all the Ensnaring Bridges and build a different plan. A plan to battle on the ground rather than try to freeze everybody up. That would open up a lot of space, but I think Planeswalkers are the key to the Ensnaring Bridge plan. Maybe we just want some different Sorens in the deck. There's a bunch of different white-black Sorens that poop out tokens. Most of them have lifelink. Most of them kill something eventually or drain for a bunch of life eventually. Those are cards you could play. Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, kind of quaint these days, but making a 2/2 every turn, not bad. Making your squad bigger when it's time to bash, not bad. I think I'd actually max out on Vindicate too. Like, you need to answer problems with this deck. And to John's credit, he did max out on Vindicate when he sent the list, and I shaved down to 3 to make room for some other stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to go too far down this rebuild because the Ensnaring Bridge is such a crazy fork. You decide if you want to be an Ensnaring Bridge deck or not, and then from there decide how you want to use your slots. I actually don't think we really need to be an Ensnaring Bridge deck. Ensnaring Bridge makes you go all in. Like, you need to have it. You need to have the correct hand size. It can never break, and we're not that good at protecting it. Unless you get a second or third in play, you're just waiting to die to a random shatter effect or Otawara activation or Brazen Borrower or whatever. There's so many ways to do this. A lot of the decks in the format can burn you out. Belcher, Boros, Zoo, they can all just go straight upstairs. The Blink deck has Flicker Wisps that could clear it for a turn, as well as Witch Enchanters. Yeah, the more we talk about it, I'm pretty sure Ensnaring Bridge is not the vision for the deck. So cut all the Ensnaring Bridges, focus more on Sweepers and Planeswalkers, and I would get some Inquisition of Kozilek's in here to see their hand more often. Probably go up to 4 Fatal Push, but if we have a ton more Sweepers, maybe not. Like, 4 seems like a lot of damn, but at the same time, it is just Sorcery Speed Doomblade, and then becomes Wrath. So it's not like we're playing 4 Wrath of God, we're playing 4 Murder, Wrath of God split cards. One thing about Pox is that it's not elegant. You probably just need to max out your slots with the cards that do the most and have the most modal utility. And Planeswalkers, of course, by nature of having a bunch of different words on them, like plus-minus abilities, will cover that. Damn being kill that or kill everything. Vindicate being kill anything. Yeah, I think Damn, Vindicate, Planeswalkers are the way forward here, rather than Ensnaring Bridge and trying to get empty. I'm going to leave that one here. John, thanks for sharing this. It is a shame it was partially plagued by a Moto bug, but we did see the strengths and weaknesses of the deck and find a really important hinge upon which to develop further. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon to support the channel. I'll see you next time.